Hello there, this is Andy Nicol again with the next lesson in the Perfectly Spoken Advanced course. And the lesson is on the subject of the vocabulary of brain and mind expressions. There are lots of expressions in English which use the words brain and mind or refer to the brain and the mind. And so in this lesson, we're going to be looking at the following. General expressions with brain and mind, and also idiomatic expressions, but we'll be looking at them all together. So, vocabulary, brain and mind expressions. This image here represents one, which is a brain going away, leaving a country to find work, representing one of the expressions that we're going to look at. So here we go. Brain and mind expressions. So I'd like you first of all to match these expressions with their definitions. So here are the expressions: to make up your mind, to pick someone or somebody's brains, to brainstorm, the verb, to take your mind off something, and a brain drain. Okay, and here are the definitions. And I'm going to disappear for a moment to allow you to look at them. Okay, so the first one, to make up your mind, which of these definitions do you think represents to make up your mind? Pause the recording, as always, if you need time to think here. And the answer is to come to a decision about something, to decide, basically. Make up your mind. To pick someone's brains or somebody's brains. Which of the definitions do you think this represents? And it's to ask someone's advice about a problem. Excuse me, can I pick your brain for a minute? I'm not sure what to do. Can I pick your brains? Can I ask you about it? Okay, next one. To brainstorm. This is a word which is used a lot in business. And the answer is to examine and work on a problem by having a group sit around and utter spontaneously whatever comes into their heads, whatever relevant thoughts they are. Okay, as I say, it's a very typical expression used in business. Let's have a brainstorming session, and so on. Okay, next one. To take your mind off something. As always, pause the recording if you need time to think here. What do you think take your mind off something means? And it is to do something in order not to think about something else. For example, if you usually if you've got a problem or there's something you just don't want to think about, you do something else. For example, I recently lost my job, so I've taken up a hobby to take my mind off it, to not think about it, or whatever. Okay, and obviously, finally, a brain drain is when professional, qualified people leave a country or a company in large numbers in search of better opportunities, usually when there's some kind of economic crisis or whatever in the country. Okay, so let's look at some example sentences and see if you can think what the expression we need in each case is. Okay, so here we go. So we've got some people at work, obviously. They're thinking up ideas, etc. Some ideas for the new advertising campaign. So which of the brain or mind expressions fits here? Well, to spontaneously think of new ideas as in a group is to brainstorm. So let's brainstorm some new ideas for the new advertising campaign. Brainstorm. 2 syllables, stress on the first syllable. Next one. Okay, you've got a woman, or I think it's a woman from the fingers, knitting, making a jumper or something using wool, knitting. I've just given up smoking. It's been hard, but I find knitting helps to something it. So here we're looking for expression to mean so that I don't think about it. The fact that I'm given up smoking. If you do something to not think about something else, it's to take your mind off it. So take my mind off it. Okay, next one. Okay, you've got someone with a packed suitcase, money, passport, etc., leaving the country. Due to the crisis, there's been a significant blank with skilled people moving from Spain to other European countries. Because of the crisis, people moving to another country for better work opportunities. Can you remember the expression? And the expression is a brain drain. There's been a significant brain drain. Okay, here's another one. There's a woman looking particularly pensive, indecisive. Oh, do you want to go to the party or not? So you're asking this person to decide, do you want to go to the party or do you not want to go to the party? And the expression is make up your mind. Do make up your mind. Okay, do please decide now. Do you want to go or not? Okay, another one. You've got 2 people there, one asking the other for advice. Can I something for a moment? I'm not clear what to do and I'd really like your opinion. So when you want to talk to someone and ask them for some suggestions or advice, you can pause the recording if you need time to think. And it's, can I pick your brains? Can I pick your brains for a moment? Can I ask you what you think about this? Okay, pick your brains. All right, so here are some more expressions. To speak your mind. Brainwash. 2 syllables, stress on the first syllable, brainwash. A brainchild. A brainchild, again stress on the first syllable. Rack your brains. And a brain teaser. A brain teaser. 3 syllables, brain teaser. Stress on the second here, brain teaser. Okay, so here are the definitions. Again, I'm going to disappear to allow you to see them properly. And so the first one, to speak your mind, which of these is the correct definition of speak your mind? And the answer is to say what you think. To speak your mind means to say exactly what you think, not to hide your thoughts in order to be diplomatic or whatever. You say what you think, speak your mind. To brainwash, again, this is a verb. What do you think brainwashed means? Again, I'm going to disappear, let you have a look. And it is to force someone to think in a certain way by putting psychological pressure on him or her. Often spies, for example, are accused of doing this, or cults or whatever. They try to brainwash people to make people think in a particular way. A brainchild. Which of the remaining definitions is a brainchild? Pause the recording if you need time to think here. A brainchild is a favourite theory or invention considered to be a particular person's creation. For example, the Clive Sinclair was a famous entrepreneur and inventor, etc., who famously created the C5 car. He had this idea that this small electric car would be very popular. Unfortunately, it was very dangerous and nobody bought it. So yes, but it was his brainchild. It was his pet invention. The next one, to rack your brains. To rack your brains is to think very hard to find a solution to a difficult problem. It's to rack your brains, to think really hard to find a solution to a problem. And so obviously the last one, a brain teaser, is a difficult puzzle. For example, Sudoku, I don't know, Rubik's Cube, cryptic crossword, etc. Okay, so yeah, again, we're going to have some example sentences here for you to look at and try to decide what's the correct expression in each one. Okay, so here we go. The first one. We've got a picture of a man looking at a Rubik's Cube. He's a bit confused, not sure how to do it. The Rubik's Cube was a something which became popular in the 70s and 80s. It was the something of Hungarian sculptor and inventor Erno Rubik. Well, first of all, what is the Rubik's Cube? It's a kind of difficult puzzle. So it's a brain teaser, And it was the idea and the invention of Hungarian sculptor and inventor Erno Rubik, the brainchild of Erno Rubik. Okay, next one. So you've got a woman there looking particularly confident. She's someone who knows what she wants, or someone who says what she thinks. If you want an honest answer, talk to Sarah. She always says what she thinks. Pause the recording if you need time to think yourself here. The answer is speaks her mind. If you speak your mind, you say exactly what you think. Okay, next one. Okay, you've got a sign here on a type of a church, Jesus Coming Soon. Have you heard about that weird American cult? They tried to blank lots of vulnerable people into adopting their beliefs, into making them think the way they wanted them to think. If you try to force or put pressure on people to believe in a certain way, is to brainwash. Okay, next one. Okay, here's a man thinking very hard, trying to remember or think of something. And here is the sentence. It's no use, I've been something for ages to try to think of the answer. Can you give me a clue? Can you give me something that will help me remember or know the answer? So he's been thinking really, really hard. He's been racking his brains. I've been racking my brains. Okay, here's another one. Sorry, beg your pardon. So now we're going to see some images which represent some of the brain or mind expressions that we've been looking at, and see if you can figure out which of the expressions is represented. So here's the first one. Okay, so you've got a head here, you've got the plug hole in here, which takes, usually is found in a sink, takes water down to the sewer or whatever. And this is a representation of the concept of brain drain, a brain drain. Brain drain. Of course, a brain drain, if you remember, is when lots of professional people, academics, doctors, etc., leave a country because there are problems there to find better job opportunities in other countries. A brain drain. Okay, here's another one. Okay, you've got two people, one person with his brain exposed and someone else coming and taking a piece of it. Which brain or mind expression do you think is represented here? And this is to pick someone's brains. To pick someone's brains. Can you remember the meaning of the expression to pick someone's brains? Pause the recording here if you need time to think. And the answer is to get advice from someone, to ask someone for suggestions or advice about a problem or a project that you're working on, etc. But to pick someone's brains or somebody's brains. Okay, here's another one. And as you see, you've got the brain and a picture of a baby here. Which brain or mind expression is represented here? Try to have a think. You've got the brain and the baby. The answer is a brainchild. What is the meaning of the expression a brainchild? Again, pause the recording if you need time to think here. What do we mean by brainchild? Yes, a brainchild is a pet invention or a novel idea created by someone and associated particularly with that person. As I mentioned before, the Sinclair C5 with Clive Sinclair, or the Rubik's Cube with Erno Rubik, etc. Brainchild. Here's another one. So what is the person doing here? We have a brain in his hand. He's got a scourer here and he's rubbing it. This is representing brainwash. To brainwash is a verb. And can you remember what to brainwash means? Pause the recording if you need time to think, as always. What do we mean by to brainwash? Answer is to try to force people to accept a set of beliefs using pressure, psychological pressure, blackmail, and all sorts of things to try to force someone to accept your beliefs or the beliefs you want to impose on them. Okay, here's another one. So we've got like a brain, head with a brain, and it's a jigsaw puzzle. Called a jigsaw puzzle, incidentally, because in English, because the machine that cuts the puzzle is a jigsaw. It's a jigsaw because it has to move around like this, almost like the dance, the jig. Jig is a kind of a traditional dance. So jigsaw is the machine that cut the pieces. So it's a jigsaw puzzle. And this represents the idea of a brain teaser, a difficult problem. For example, Rubik's Cube, jigsaw puzzle, crossword puzzle, etc., Sudoku, and all the rest of it. Okay, another one here. All right, so we've got brain, we've got, what's this here? Well, this is lightning and rain. So what concept is represented here? And the answer is to brainstorm. Brainstorm. Can you remember the meaning of brainstorm? Pause the recording if you need to think. Yes, well, brainstorm is when a group of people get together to try to generate new ideas, etc., spontaneously. It's often done in the workplace, etc., particularly in things such as advertising and so on. But you can, in any kind of business context or whatever, to brainstorm. Okay, so that's the end of today's lesson in terms of brain and mind vocabulary. I hope you found it useful as always. Next lesson, lesson 25, is going to be on the subject of, well, it's going to be a review lesson of the previous lessons, including this one. And as always, it will be with me, and we're going to be looking at relative clauses again. In lesson 21, we had defining relative clauses, which provide essential information about things. And in lesson 23, we looked at non-defining relative clauses, which give us additional information. And we compared and contrasted both of these, and also looked at reduced relative clauses, where we use things like present participle, verb plus ing, or past participle in passive sentences instead of a full clause. It's to make things more concise. So we'll be reviewing that. Then we'll be looking at the vocabulary of prefix and suffixes, which we looked at in lesson 22. Prefixes, of course, which can change the meaning of the word, either make it negative or modify it in some way, using words like over, under, out, and so on. And suffixes, obviously changing the grammar of words from verb to noun or noun to adjective, and so on. And finally, we'll be looking again at the brain and mind expressions, doing a little review of today's lessons. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and take care, and I look forward to seeing you or speaking to you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.